aka Cila da Poet. How's everybody doing? God bless everybody. Happy Tuesday. So I decided to do a live. I said that I would try to start putting out more content, and that's what I'm doing. So today, my thoughts are on the gender war that is on social media. My thoughts are on the dating market and the fact that a lot of people are reporting that the birth rate is going down, that marriage is becoming obsolete, that men and women are at each other's throats. You have movements like the manosphere, you have movements like MGTOW, and then you have 4B. My concern is that our society is going to become dystopian. Now, I'm all for egalitarian principles to be ruling a society where you have the women and the men being treated equally. You have the same amount of equal rights and equal opportunities. That's something that I could stand for. But when you're talking about a dystopian society, we're getting to a point where soon we're going to have a segregated society where you're going to have men that have their own communities, their own their own part of the planet, and then you're going to have women on the other part of the planet. It may go as far as to go like a movie. I've seen movies where they talk about dystopian realities. And so you have men in one camp, women in another camp, and people living separate lives. And then if people decide to either fall in love or bridge the gap, it'll end up being that, people they'll start putting rules and stuff against it. I think that people are just so, I don't know, people are just not only delusional, but I think people are so selfish that they're unwilling to see each other's issues and each other's sides. And I feel that way about both sides. I am a feminist and I do support women's rights, but not to the detriment of stripping all the men's rights away. I can't support something like that. So I've been seeing a lot of content online about women talking about how the man needs to make over 100K a year, and that there are certain places they won't go on dates, like a coffee house or cheesecake factory, things of that nature. And I think that I read something in the Bible a long time ago which said, don't think of yourself higher than what you really are. And I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there's actually a verse that says that we ought not to think of ourselves as higher than what we are. We have a culture that's being propagated here. You know, um, Unfortunately, stripper culture is being uplifted in our society. You have women who they want men, to spend money on them, to spend thousands of dollars on them, and pay all the bills without having to give anything in return except sex or do too much. Now it's what is it, the soft girl era, and now you have the counter, the soft guy era, talking about how a woman needs to make just as much money and she must go 50-50 on all the bills. I just think it's getting really, really ridiculous. It's getting to the point where this society is going to be a segregation between men and between women. Just like the Jim Crow back in the day was segregated between blacks and whites, soon it's going to be the women versus the men. And they're going to be living in their own communities and their own whatever. And people are not going to know how to interact with one another. And it's going to become very dystopian, you know? I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. I support egalitarianism, but dystopian, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that concept. Um, but I see both sides of the fence. You have the manosphere, who are men who are embittered because, some women didn't treat them right or rejected them, or they can't get access to girls or to women, right? And they're upset because, things don't go, things are, men are no longer able to be that entitled where they can draw a woman's resources without having to give too much. And then you have women who are basically, treating men as if they're a what do you call that? They're just a credit card, or they're just, somebody to give them money or to spend money on them. And honestly, I have to even admit that men are more than just money. And they're more than just a penis, and they're more than just, you know, what they can give to us of monetary value. As someone who survived domestic violence, and as someone who had an abusive father, there's a part of me as a woman that wished that, I had a male figure that was a good example to me. Someone that would have taught me the ropes, someone that would have valued my femininity, somebody who would have uplifted me, and I could have done the same for them. But the cards did not turn out that way, and I was abused, I was denigrated, I was devalued, I was disrespected, and because I went through all that, I learned that I will never accept that type of behavior ever again. But there was a part of me that used to wish that my interactions with the male gender, including my dad, would have been better. But I could not change his nature. I could not change our miscommunications. I could not change the fact that he was violent. I could not change the fact that he would not listen to me. So, all I'm saying is that both men and women, we have our issues. And if we don't learn, how to get along, like Martin Luther King said, we don't learn to get along, we're going to perish together as fools. This type of gender war can actually lead to a civil war, you know. And imagine men and women literally being at war, like physically taking up arms to like try to kill each other. Like that's how we're headed if we don't try to heal some of this dysfunction that's going on here, you know? I think that men need to check their own misogyny, go to therapy, check their own sexism, unlearn all of the white supremacist patriarchal stuff that society has taught you about women and devaluing women. And I think that women also need to unlearn all the supremacist things that they taught you about how men are and what they're supposed to be, and just treating men like they're another dad, another father that's supposed to just take care of you. No, we're adults. We're adults. We're supposed to take care of ourselves. Now, if a man comes into our life and he wants to add to our life by giving resources, that's different. But, if you're looking for a father figure, or you're looking for someone to take care of because your father didn't take care of you, or you had issues with him, then that's something you need to go to therapy for. And that's just the real deal. So, but these are just some of my thoughts about this social media war. People going back and forth, men bashing women, women bashing men, and the people that are behind the scenes getting rich because it's just lining their pockets, and it ends up messing both sides up, making it so that we really can't interact. So these are just some things to think about. I'm hoping that people will wake up one day and smell the coffee and realize that both sides are being bamboozled, and that each side has their part to play, and that they will some way somehow find a bridge, some level of understanding, so that there can be some solutions to the issues between both. That's my hope and that's my prayer. So I got to get back to work, but those are just some thoughts that I have, and there will be more content soon. All right? Peace, y'all.